everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika and today I am sharing some horror romance recommendations for you all. Okay, so listen. First of all, this video is a collaboration with Frey, who I love so damn much. Her channel is so precious. She has like I love her aesthetic because she has like these white shelves and like the books and the greenery, and I just love her. I love all of her content. She is just fantastic. She is the cutest thing and I just love her vibe. She reads dark romance, so a lot of my recommendations I go get them from her because she's reading all of the dark and I love her so good. So she is the perfect person to do horror romance with, because listen, horror romance, if you're unfamiliar, is my favorite subgenre of romance, because though it can be a dark romance, it's a little bit more. So one thing that I get asked quite often is like, what's the difference between dark romance and like horror romance? Specifically, horror romance has horrific elements. It can also be considered gothic romance, so we have gothic romance and more like horrific kind of elements in it. Both of those things can create a horror romance. First of all, let's talk about Bride of Demonio. This is a dark paranormal and it is in fact horror romance, and no one's gonna convince me otherwise on this one, because in this one we're following two girls, and these two girls have like a very mysterious past that they truly don't really know what their past is themselves. So them and their friends end up going to, it's kind of like a haunted house kind of thing. Like, they love Halloween, they love the haunted stuff, they love scary stuff, and it's the perfect read for fall. It's the perfect read for Halloween. And they're going to this place, and one of the sisters ends up getting involved with this group of men, and they can't figure out why and what's going on with this group of dudes. They go into this like forest like area, and their friends are ripped apart, destroyed, like limbs being ripped apart. They watch this gruesome, like grotesque thing happening. It is very horror-esque, like very horror vibes, and not necessarily a happily ever after, because we do have a second book that's coming. But you know this is going to be a why choose. Highly recommend. Is this like the best horror romance ever? No. But it was fun and I really enjoyed it. Another horror romance that I love and I never shut the fuck up about is Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRoe. I know you all wouldn't be shocked by this one because it's Harley LaRoe and I love her. And Her Soul to Take, chef's kiss. Oh my god. Epitome of atmospheric, beautiful storytelling. So with Her Soul to Take, we're following our heroine Ray, and she moves back to her hometown, and she's a paranormal YouTuber. So like, she's like a paranormal investigator with a YouTube channel, and it's really cute. I love that personally for the YouTube aspect because I just thought it was hilarious. But this is very atmospheric, very gothic feeling, definitely feels horror-esque, and the subplot is very horror-esque. She does fall for a demon. This is a dark demon romance, so dark paranormal. I find a lot of dark paranormals can really hit horror romance really well. This one in particular is following a cult and ancient gods and human sacrifice. So, I mean, I feel like just like sharing that is like, okay, yeah, that's why it's horror romance. But like, it's really the atmosphere, it's really the added elements that really drive the horror home in this one. I do highly recommend it. I love this book. I don't shut up about this book, and I just want everyone and their mom to read it. So, and I have no shame about it. I'm like, I'm gonna need y'all to read this book now, okay? Thank you. Let's talk about Whispers in the Dark, because I know you all knew this was coming. This is a book that I never shut up about, but it is truly horror romance. Like, this is a horror book with a happily ever after. And this was my first taste of horror romance, and I adore this book. And I can't tell you a ton without spoiling everything, but I'm gonna tell you what I can, and we'll go from there. Know this going into this one, there are tons and tons and tons and tons of triggers, and when I tell you there are tons of triggers, I'm not joking. Every single trigger that you could possibly think is in here. Essentially we have a lot of rape, sodomy, and let's go ahead and be honest, this dad is not good to his son either. Like, he is just all around a sociopath. So this one, we're really following our heroine as she's trying to get out of this situation. This is a serial killer romance. It is a it's a captor-captive romance. It is a dark fucking book. Like, it is hard to read. It is hard to stomach if you are not an avid horror lover, or even if you just love horror movies. I feel like this is going to be a hard one for you to pick up and to go through. I truly love this book, like, so much. Like, I love this book so much, and I love everything that the author is trying to do in it, because it speaks to my horror loving soul, you know. But it's hard to read, and these two characters are messed up, and there is a lot of graphic stuff in here. Like, just straight up, there's a lot of graphic stuff. So if that's hard for you to read, I might ask you to, like, steer away from that one, because I don't want you to go in and get triggered or be hurt or anything like that. I want you to enjoy this. Let's talk about a Brianna Hill real quick. This one is a little bit of a stretch, but it's not. It's not, I promise, okay? So we have the Necromancer's Ride. This one is about a necromancer who, you know, literally brings people back from the dead. And we have a girl who is in this town. She was cured of a sickness that was killing everybody, and the necromancer is the one that killed her, or the one that saved her. And the sickness comes back, so she goes to the necromancer and is like, hey, help me cure these kids. You cured me. Let's take care of these kids, make sure they don't die. So the necromancer agrees, but in order to do that, she has to stay with him for a little while. It's not necessarily horror, but there are horrific elements in here. Again, this one is a little bit of a stretch, but it's not at the same time, because we have leeches on her body during her cycle. We have slime hand thing, slime goop going up in her, and an animated corpse that is used in place of him. It's a novella. I can't tell you anything else, but I just wanted to throw it in here because it's weird. And then the last one I want to tell you about is Flesh. This is by Kylie Scott. This is a post-apocalyptic story, and it is a horror because it's post-apocalyptic. There are zombies and whatnot, and that's the extent of the horror. It's very light horror romance, but it's still horror romance because, like, it's in this zombie setting where, you know, these zombies are eating people and all this stuff. So in this one, we're following a girl who stumbles upon this guy, and she has an instant connection to him, and she has been without human contact for weeks, like weeks. So she has a very instant, like, insta-love connection with him, which, fair. I'm sorry, if you have been stranded and no human contact for that long, I can get your insta-love. I can get your insta-lust. I get it, and I'm not mad about it. She does also have a relationship with another guy, so it is a throuple. Or less throuple, more she has multiple partners, and both partners are okay with that. It's a survival story of them finding safety and, you know, living within this post-apocalyptic world. And it's fun, and I really liked it. And I don't have a lot I can really say about it because it is super short, and I feel like if I tell you a ton, it's gonna spoil things, so just know that going in. But this is definitely the lightest of the horror romance that I could talk about. So those are my horror romances, or just horrific romances, that I think you should read this spooky season. Make sure you go check out Frey's video, because I know she's gonna have so many good recommendations, because she was texting me about one the other day, and I was like, ma'am, I'm gonna need that, thank you. So if you are still here, go ahead and leave me a little ghosty emoji down in the comments, and if you're a member, leave me the little ghost face emoji that we have that we can use, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye everyone. Don't you wanna have fun, fool around someone?